Hello. I just wanted to do a quick little video here talking about the channeled readings that I do. I think that actually a lot of my clients don't actually know that I do channeled readings, though a lot of you kind of joined in and got to experience these earlier in the year, around the same kind of time, like holiday season, January, etc. This is a really great time for doing readings, much as people look to the close of a year and the coming year with their astrology readings. The tarot readings provide a really detailed reflection. You're dealing with reflections that can represent both circumstantial situations in your life, or they can represent more of the kind of like universal, bigger picture reflections that are impacting everybody. And so, I find it to be a really helpful tool. The reason why I'm even thinking about this is because I've got my yearly reading that is sitting in front of me, ready to be switched out for the next year's reading. I always do a 10-card reading on the new year. I always do one on my birthday, so I'm kind of tracking two 12-month cycles in that kind of a way. And then I also do my best to do a 10-card reading on every solstice and equinox, so that I have these snapshots of time that move forward, 3 months at a time and then 12 months at a time. And I find that to be very helpful to track the cycles that I'm moving through and the reflections that I am receiving, and how I am learning and how I'm growing throughout the year. But so this now, at the end of the year, I will remind everybody that I have my channeled readings always basically on a sale price of $100 for a channeled reading. Most of these channeled readings are going to go at least 60 minutes, 60 to 90 minutes. And when we do a reading for you, it's going to be a comprehensive reflection of your life and the factors that are influencing you and what factors may be approaching you to have to grow with and to learn from. So that is on my website. When you go to schedule an appointment, that you can book the channeled reading section and select your times, and that will always be $100, as opposed to a normal 90-minute appointment is $200. So I figured I would do a on-the-fly reading here and pull a card just as a general reflection for everybody, with the intention that we have the most appropriate reflection for this next, the new year and the coming weeks and months. So let's see what we get, and I'll give an example, a quick example of what a channeled reading looks like, and we can kind of extrapolate that then into a 10-card reflection. Funny enough, a couple of cards popped out there. Interesting. We're gonna put these back in here, but let's give it one more shuffle, and then we will be on our way. And so what I do, I have a unique way of doing my readings, the channeled readings. I go into a gamma state, like the name gamma wave healing, being based on a gamma brainwave state, which is essentially crown chakra open and information pouring in. And I've learned how to kind of step myself out of that flow of information and allow the information to just kind of come through unfiltered. And I use this, then I apply this with the tarot, which I don't know anybody else that does anything like this. So here we go. Fanning out the cards, having been sufficiently shuffled, holding an intention of what reflection is the most appropriate reflection for all of us to see in this little example. Checking in. Right, so we've got a card, and that card is the Queen of Cups. Looks like the image is reversed here, filming, but yeah, the Queen of Cups. This is the Robin Wood deck. I really love Robin Wood's artwork. It's a traditional translation of the Tarot with major arcana and minor arcana, using the suits of the cups, the swords, the pentacles, and the wands. And so the Queen of Cups, she represents, she's the queen in the cups. The cups is part of the minor arcana. The minor arcana represents situations, manifest situations in our life. And those manifest situations are divided into 4 suits. This is what poker cards are based off of. So the 4 suits are the cups in this case, which means the water element and his emotions. And then this, the swords represent the air element, which is the divine mind. The wands represent the fire element, which is our creative force. And the pentacles represent the earth element, which is kind of the earthly, 3D, money, work, home, health, etc. And each one of the minor arcana, each one of the suits is numbered 1 through 10, or ace through 10. And then they also have, in this deck, a page, a knight, a queen, and a king. So she is the Queen of Cups, which is the kind of the mother, the divine mother energy of the goddess energy, the divine mother, your earthly mother. That's about nurturing and healing and support and growth, emotional development. It's about the development of clarity around divine love and how we receive and manifest divine love. So that's what she represents. So with an intention of looking at the upcoming energies, this is telling us that, there maybe we need some reflection around reconnecting in with the earth, reconnecting in with our hearts, being able to watch the emotions as they rise and not to get caught up in them, but to allow them to flow through into expression and to learn and to heal from how those emotions are running. So that would be kind of like a surface level translation. So we'll do the channeled reading now. And I really love the imagery again of like this. She's sitting in like a seashell throne. It's like a clamshell throne, and she's got her beautiful dress. And she, that's a cat behind me in the reflection. I was like, what is that moving behind my head? So yeah, the beautiful imagery, and she's holding the Ace of Cups, the Holy Grail, is being held in her hand, emanating out light beams and healing. So here we go. Queen of Cups. So this reflection relates to the healing waters, and there are many different things that could be coming up over the next several weeks and next several months that are going to reflect to us the healing waters rising to the surface. We've talked about this before in other newsletters and other videos about the primordial waters that are rising right now, that are coming from deep within the earth. As the frequency changed around the destruction of Atlantis, or what we call Atlantis, the ancient civilization that was global, that was destroyed or partially erased, the conscious living waters of Gaia, of the Earth, the planet, the planetary liquid crystalline interface, those waters retreated at the shift in energy, at the fall of that civilization. The waters pulled back into the earth because the frequency on the surface was too low in order for them to find their expression. And now the energy has changed in so many ways that these waters are rising. They're rising back up to the surface. There are springs that are erupting. There are erupting out of the ground, bringing water to areas that that know, that they previously didn't have the type of life and water support. There are cleansing waters coming in the form of deluges of rains, massive rainstorms, going through and flooding out areas, which appears like calamity, but is often a necessary healing of the energy that has been infiltrated into those parts of the world. Looking at the hurricane situation, perhaps as it hit North Carolina, and many of the dark and occult practices that were embedded in those areas. So there's a reflection here around the healing waters, the primordial waters rising to the surface. But in a more personal reflection, we talk about the waters that rise from within us, the deep well of emotion that in so many cases has been suppressed or has been hidden from our conscious awareness. These are energies that involve pain and wounding, heartbreak, betrayal, abandonment, frustration, failure, inferiority, like all of these feelings that would move through us and would be like stagnant water within our own field. Those energies are being squeezed and uprooted currently by all of the cosmic energy and by the pressure of the presence of the star beings that are here around this world. All of these energies are acting upon us right now, forcing the stagnant water from the depths of our being up to the surface. And so this is a reflection that as we move through this new year and into the beginning part of the year, we may see some situations that really pull at our heartstrings. We may see situations that drive forward emotion, very strong emotion. Just within the last 24 hours, we've had a citizen journalist out there with his iPhone and FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, information about massive scale fraud that's occurring in Minnesota, which is just, one of probably all 50 states that have levels of fraud that would shock us. And as this, as an example, this revelation comes forward, anger comes forward, anger rises from the people who are struggling, that are fighting to survive in this country and in this world right now, while there literally are billions of dollars being thrown away, fraudulently given to people that are criminals, quite honestly, that are running these rackets. And so that's just one example of a situation where the emotion and the energy is being squeezed up. So as we look into this new year and we're moving forward in this new year, we may find all sorts of different circumstances that would bring forward and would stir up all of this stagnant emotional energy that has been locked away within our field, and that we're being supported to be able to move through this. We have all of the resources available to us, all of the support available to us to hold us as we move through these storm waters, as we move through this dark night of the soul. With that as well, we can also look to the positive energies, the upwelling of joy, the upwelling of love, feeling waves of love move through us, moving through us for humanity, moving through us for like love of this world and the beauty that we can appreciate, the joy of the children's laughter and all of these things. We as well can look to those energies, and as these dark energies rise, as the pain is transmuted, it leaves us in a state where we're able to attune into our true and most authentic self, which is an expression of love that goes beyond any limitation, beyond any concept even of unconditional love. That's what we are at the truth of our essence. And so as we move in through these moments, we are staring down the barrel of some very challenging things that are going to come into awareness. And these challenging things are going to bring forward an incredible range of emotion. And yet through all of it, we are held. We need to remember that we are held, that there, even though it seems like you're falling, just trusting that there is that hand underneath you, the hand of spirit, the hand of God, the hand of our ancestors, however you want to find that it is right below us as we feel like we're falling, always there to provide us with that support. So remembering all of these things, and as we move through these moments into the new year, to remember always to return to the still waters of our inner heart and of our inner soul, and that those still waters will provide us with all the support that we need. So that was kind of interesting. Wow, that was a lot longer looking at the clock now than I anticipated, but there's an example of a channeled reading, and in this case, there's I think a very positive message that is mixed in with the very obvious and inherent challenges that are part of this moment. So remember that. Take this little gift of information and remember that we can always be very centered within ourselves, even as the intensities rise. And just like this Queen of Cups sitting there with the Holy Grail in her hand overlooking the ocean, that we too can weather that storm and return to the authentic being that is residing within each and every one of our hearts. All right, I hope that you enjoyed that. And again, you can always schedule one of these readings where we would pull 10 of those cards specifically for you by going onto the website at gammawavehealing.com. And in that top menu, you can just click the button to book a session. All right. Much love to everybody. Have a beautiful day.